Conmebol. It is the gift that keeps on giving, as we saw Bielsa ball take an absolute nosedive in the last 4 games. Peru finally won a game, so congrats to all my Peruvians out there. Chile, are god-awful, terrible. Throw them in the garbage immediately, and our Brazil back, and how good was Messi against Bolivia. We're going to break it all down here in today's video of Conmebol review of the October window. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as we're going to break down each and every team, starting with Argentina. Argentina, they had a good window, and we expect this every window now from Argentina, where they're just solid. They're just a well-drilled unit. And again we see it. Now, did they face adversity in this window? Of course, because they went to the monsoon of Maturin in Venezuela and got a 1-1 draw. Look, the game wasn't the best, and yes, that was because of the field as well, and Venezuela took advantage of it fully, and Argentina had to adapt. I feel like they could have went more with the long ball towards Julian, and that field was not for Messi. Messi, of course, dribble, and that field, you cannot dribble, you cannot pass, you just got to go direct, crosses into the box, and Argentina really didn't know how to adapt to the game, but they got the lucky goal with Otamendi with Romo. I don't know what he's doing in that goal. Parries it straight to Otamendi, 1-0. Argentina faced a lot of adversity in the second half, and got to give credit to Rui, because obviously Dibu is suspended for these 2 games. Rui comes into the starting lineup, and he was absolutely fantastic. He's been great with Marseille this season, and the saves he was making in the second half against Venezuela, top notch. And yeah, they got a 1-1 draw, and I think it was a fair result. I think Argentina can be like, hey man, we kind of got lucky here in Maturin, because we know Maturin is a force right now when it comes to Conmebol football. Then they go home and they absolutely obliterate the Space Merchants, aka Bolivia, 6-0. Talk about a response, and talk about Bolivia looking like absolute altitude merchants. Messi. He was in his bag last night. You know, we always talk about the legends, and we talk about like a farewell game or that one last great match performance. Maybe Messi still has it in his bag, of course, but that match against Bolivia in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, at the Estadio Monumental, was simply magical. Simply GOAT-esque. Because he dropped a hat trick. I think he got 1 assist or 2 assists. 1 assist to, I think it was Julian in the game. And the third goal, the combination play with Bas, who came off the bench, and he was looking fantastic. And he's been great with Como and Serie A. Argentina were simply unstoppable. And the midfield pressing again and again. They win the ball back high up the field. Obviously, Bolivian center back didn't know what he was doing there. And they counterattack quickly. Messi gets the first goal. Sloppy from Bolivia. Why on earth are you going to give the best player in the history of football that sort of space to score? Lautaro gets on the board, Julian gets on the board, and it was just cruise control. And even Thiago Almada, who's been also great with Botafogo, as Botafogo are trying to do a double this season, he got a goal. They already got 22 points. We're already over halfway in the Conmebol qualifiers. Argentina are just a well-drilled unit, and it's just now about, will Messi play in 2026? That's going to be the biggest question. Let me know your thoughts, people. Should Messi play in 2026? Of course, everybody will say, of course he should. But you know what? Age will catch up eventually. And age seems to have not caught up right now. Maybe in moments at the Copa America, we did see, okay, Messi, old age is catching up. But if he plays like that, like he did against Bolivia, they couldn't stop him. They couldn't. The goals, the assists, it was unbelievable. And Argentina are just walking to America, Mexico, and Canada for the World Cup. The Space Merchants, Bolivia, they're going to be astronauts soon, going to Mars, Pluto, and wherever. But my God, they have had an incredible comeback. They look dead and buried after the Copa America. Did we not all watch that Copa America and think to ourselves, this is terrible? What? Send Bolivia to CONCACAF. Send Bolivia to the OFC. Might be a long journey, but send their asses there. But now, they got 3 wins out of the last 4 games. Now look, the game in Buenos Aires, they got destroyed. They got brought back down to Earth from space, right? Maybe it was that sort of missile or whatever, the launch space thing that Elon Musk did. That must have been Bolivia, because they beat Colombia 1-0. And yet we can say altitude tax. They're in El Alto, the high. Yeah, they're not on the highest in the room like Travis Scott, but they still beat them, and they were down to 10 men for 70 minutes. Miguel Terceros, he might not play a lot of minutes for Santos. Bro, he should be. if Santos are going to try and come back to the Brasileiro Serie A, because that goal he scored sent 3 Colombians to go order some empanadas arepas and scored a golazo from Miguel Ticeros. And the fact that Bolivia won the game is nothing short of extraordinary, because to face that adversity, and yes, look, they're going to have a lot of advantage with the altitude, but they played amazing football. The midfield is looking good. I mean, Villamil, Vecca, obviously Terceros, Algarans, excuse me. I mean, Vizcarra made some incredible saves, and if it wasn't for Cordoba, maybe Bolivia would have lost that game. But now, they've given themselves a genuine chance of qualifying to the World Cup. This is no joke anymore. This is now a reality. And they face 2 tough teams in this window, Colombia and Argentina, Copa America finalists, and they got 3 points. They will be super happy with this. Any team that goes away to El Alto is holding an L. They are. There is just nothing you can do about the altitude. Bolivia will do it as long as they can until FIFA or Conmebol really say, okay, enough is enough, or unfortunately if a player gets severely injured. But Bolivia will keep on taking advantage of it, and they're playing some really good football. I mean, watch how they play in El Alto, people. It is simply stunning, but it's a long way to go with the qualifiers, but Bolivia are in a very good position for themselves. Our Brazil back, people. Our Brazil back. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because they did play 2 of the worst Conmebol teams I have ever seen in Peru and Chile. They are so god-awful that, and I said this with rank after the last window, that Brazil, these next 2 games, it is a mandatory 6 points. Anything less than that, and the panic button will be kicking in about missing to the World Cup. I'm being serious here, because if you lose to this Chile team and this Peru team, go away, Brazil. Take away the 5 stars and just leave it with 0 stars. Maybe change it to orange and, I don't know, black and something like that sort of crest, because then it's not Brazil. It's not. But they got the 6 points, and that is the most valuable thing possible. But the biggest takeaway we can take from this window for Brazil is trust the Brazilian league players. How long have we seen the Brazilian teams, Palmeiras, Flamengo, you name it, they have dominated the Copa Libertadores. I mean, Botafogo, John Textor is a crazy owner, but he's spending the money for them. And they have some great players. Igor Jesus, the striker, he got a goal. Who else got a goal? Luis Enrique got 2 goals in this window, got the game winner against Chile off the bench. It just shows you, trust the local players. When they won the World Cup in 2002, was that team full of players playing in Europe? No, it wasn't. It was players, it was a mixture. You get a little bit of that samba, you get a little bit of that European structure, and you create the Brazilian national team. Just for the life of me, please, Dorival, I honestly called him Allardazinho, because that's how he was managing this team. Please stop playing Danilo, okay? Let's just stop playing him. Trust Vanderson, trust Young Couto, trust one of those 2 guys, because Danilo is god-awful. He's retired, basically, at this point. But Brazil, they pick up 2 wins. The Peru game was so easy. They were just in cruise control. Rafinha in the 10 role looking really good. He's carrying his form from Barcelona compared to other Real Madrid players who can't carry their form from club level to national team level. Rafinha is doing that. And Brazil now, this is now their momentum change. Now it's going to get tough for Brazil. Their next 4 games, people, is Venezuela away, Uruguay at home, Colombia at home, Argentina away. They have to at least get 2 wins in there. Now, this is all pretty and we can say, yeah, Brazil looking good. But I'm sorry. With these 2, if they can get 4 to 6 points in the next window, then Brazil are okay. And maybe this can be talked about in the media, that trust the local players. The Brasileiro is a very good league. Maybe top 6, top 7 league in the world. Trust those players. They got the samba. They got that technical ability. Because some of these guys, they don't have the technical ability. But Brazil, good window for them. Chile are god-awful. Chile are... What Spanish word would you describe Chile right now? They are abysmal. They have no cohesion. They have no technical ability. They have no physicality. They have nothing right now. Chile, Gareca, he might be a fraud. He might be the biggest fraud. He looks just miserable. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. You see him in the sideline against Colombia, 2-0 down, and he's just like, yeah, okay, cool. Está bueno. Está bueno. Sí. Sí. I mean, what's the nicest way to put it? Chile are finished. And I don't know when they will be back. And I'm talking about qualifying for the World Cup and making it to a semifinal, quarterfinal of a Copa America. I don't know when it's going to happen because I look at their next generation and okay, yeah, they got some decent players. Osorio, I really rate, but nobody else. And then the goals they conceded against Colombia, the second goal, I think it was Loyola, who gave that terrible pass straight to James. I mean, if you're trying to help yourselves out as a national team, don't give up the ball to James Rodriguez of all guys. And that's exactly what they did. And the game against Brazil, they took the 1-0 lead thanks to Eduardo Vargas. And the rest of the game, we'll defend. We'll try and hold on. There is seriously so many issues with this national team that it's not even just the field. It's the FA. You got Arturo Vidal raging on Twitch, talking about the manager, talking about the federation, talking about giving more minutes to U21 players. For the rest, I have never seen Chile this bad. I think it was 2002 World Cup qualifiers. They had 3 wins. The whole campaign. They got 1 win so far. Uno. It's not, I don't know when they're going to get their next win. I don't know. If you're losing to Bolivia at home, you're losing to Brazil at home, you're losing to Colombia away 4-0, alarm bells. It's just such alarm bells right now that this national team, they have no hope. There's no hope. Might as well just liquidate the FA and say, hey, we don't want to play for the rest of these 8 games. The only way Chile are going to qualify for World Cup is if they find another ineligible player from Ecuador. That's the only way. Because Echeverri, Pulgar, Davila, Cortez, Maripa, all of these players are just so below the standards of the golden generation. And that's what we have now, my at least generation, we've come to accustom that Chile are a good side. They're going to make it difficult. They're going to have some good technical players with Alexis Sanchez, Arturo Vidal, Gary Medel, and all these sort of guys. But now, which player from Chile are you taking? The only one I'm taking is Osorio. And that's it. All the rest of them can go straight to the basura. And yeah, this window, it just epitomizes what Chile are right now. Garbage. And there's nothing else to say about them. How many wins will they get for the rest of this qualifiers, I'm going to say max 1 win. They got 8 games. Maybe they can get 1 win. But let me know your thoughts, people. Chile are finito. Colombia, look, we've come to accustom as well. Same as Argentina. They just get the wins and they move on. Now, the game away to Bolivia, that is all on Jon Cordoba. Because he had 3 golden chances. There was a chance in the first half. An open net. And he completely missed the net. I don't know what he was doing during that game. It obviously could have been the altitude. And yeah, Colombia, physically they weren't at it. Technically they weren't good against Bolivia. Then at home against Chile, you just see set pieces wise looking good. Diaz was looking phenomenal against Chile. And they're just such a good team at home. If you go away to Barranquilla, you're going to get lucky to score a goal or to get even a point. Because Colombia are not dropping points there. There was no point to get overreactionary about that game. This is the true Colombia. Beating Chile comfortably, Diaz getting on the goal scoring, and Yon Duran is simply a baller. I mean, this guy might be the Colombian Adriano. That left foot, you give him 1 chance, first time finish, golazo. He is so goddamn good, and Colombia are just so good. They might not have the stars compared to Argentina. They don't got guys at Liverpool, Chelsea, or these sort of players. But as a unit, Colombia can go toe-to-toe with any team in this world, and that is because of Nestor Lorenzo. He is such a good manager. Mojica, obviously they didn't have Munoz in this window. Then you still got Lucumi, Davinson Sanchez getting a goal, Lerma, Richard Rios. They're such a fun team to watch. They play such entertaining football, and I hope Colombia can just keep up this momentum heading into the World Cup, and I think 2026 could maybe be a magical year for Colombian football. But yeah, great window for them, and let's see how they continue. I'm bored. I'm done with Ecuador. I'm sorry. These guys are never scoring a goal. Did you see these 2 games, people? The Ecuador attack is moving like the Ecuador electricity at the moment, shutting off at random times. Did you see the interview? I think it was Galindez that he made after the Paraguay game. The electricity went out, but the electricity is a massive problem, and the attack is a massive problem as well. They can't generate any goal scoring opportunities. The only opportunities they truly had in these 2 games was the cross from Preciado into Hernán Valencia. And then the first game, you had Gonzalo Plata with that nice little cute footwork and left-footed shot. But Ecuador's attack, I have no complaints about the defense or the goalkeeper. Galindez, Torres, Pacho, and Hincapié, you are doing God's work. And same thing with Moises Caicedo. The guy's a beast in the midfield. But the attackers and Becasese, they gotta sort something out. Either you switch to a back four, or you just completely take away Ener Valencia, Gonzalo Plata, and start. Why does Jan Yeboah not get any minutes for this team? Why? He has been, I think, pretty good for Ecuador in his Ecuador national team career, but he gets no minutes. He gets subbed on in the 92nd minute. What sort of impact is he going to do? Becasese, what is he going to do? And Ener Valencia, he might have gotten that one goal back in September. Nothing fooled me. He is still rotten and cebollado. Just move on, give Campagna a chance, give somebody else a chance, not Ener Valencia. Okay? He's a legend of Ecuadorian football, but it's time to move on. Midfield is working good, the defense is elite, that attack is just so average, and they have scored 6 goals in 10 games. 6 goals in 10 games. I thought Tunisia were the worst team to watch. I mean, they've kept 3 clean sheets in a row. So that's the thing. Ecuador are going to be such a difficult team to break down in every game. But that attack, you nullify one of those attackers, it's done. It'll be 0-0. Ecuadorians, let me know your thoughts. Should Becasese move to a back four? Is there too much complaining going on with this team? Kendry Pais, I still think he's going to be an elite player. He's still very young, 17 years old. So just give him some time. He's going to go through some growing pains. But this team are just so awful to watch, attacking-wise. Gustavo Alvaro is simply a genius. In his first 4 games with Paraguay, he has gotten a draw away to Uruguay 0-0, beat Brazil at home 1-0, draw away to Ecuador 0-0, and beat Venezuela 2-1 in a pretty meaningful victory. Gustavo Alvaro, and I talked about this with Rank as well when the hiring was announced and had previewing the September window. It is a 10 out of 10 hiring. Gustavo Alvaro has done wonders with Ecuador and with Costa Rica. With Costa Rica, he got a 0-0 draw against Brazil. And now, he has got better players with Paraguay, and Ciso is balling out. Yeah, he might have complained about the altitude in Quito. He wasn't complaining in Paraguay as he was tormenting the Venezuelan defense. Now, the only criticism I have for Gustavo Alvaro is stop starting Pita. He might sound like good old Pita bread, but he's not playing like Pita bread. Play Sanabria. The guy comes off the bench and gets 2 crucial goals. Here is a crazy stat, people. You know when was the last time Paraguay scored 2 goals in a competitive game? March 2022 against Ecuador. Gustavo Alvaro is just simply a genius, and he is working his magic once again. Organize the defense, get Gustavo Gomez back into the starting lineup, the captain, and he's playing like a captain right now. He is being unbelievable. Same thing with Alderete, and then you have Enciso. Still not the biggest fan of Almiron, but he did a wonderful back heel in towards Alonso, and then Alonso's great cross into Sanabria, and that was the second half. And yeah, it was still in the first half as well. Almiron had that golden chance at the back post from Enciso's cross and couldn't convert it. But Paraguay, they're rolling right now. And they want to Remember what Gustavo Alvaro said after they beat Brazil and he was walking down the tunnel with Julio Enciso? We're going to the World Cup. He has installed this belief. He is such a maestro with his words. And now he's a maestro with his tactics because he has got this Paraguay team rolling. And they are going to keep on rolling and rolling. They have faced 4 tough opponents here. Venezuela, Ecuador, Brazil, and Uruguay. And to get 8 points... You cannot complain if you're Paraguayan. Now you can start believing we are going to qualify for our first World Cup since 2010. And it might be time because they are rolling at the moment. I think it's going to continue. And you still got Diego Gomez. He obviously was in the starting lineup. Then obviously Sosa and Ciso, Almiron. They have a lot of quality of Paraguay that maybe a lot of people don't know about. And they're going to just keep getting better and better under Gustavo Alvaro. And we're going to see them at the World Cup. Well, at least Peru got their first win. That's at least a bonus because... that's the only positive they can take from this entire qualifiers is that finally they won a competitive game under Fossati. Araujo getting the only goal of the game, Quispe. I have to ask a question to all my Peruvians out there, right? Why doesn't Quispe start? Quispe only got 18 minutes in this window. For me, he is one of the Peru's best players, but he doesn't get any minutes under Fossati and his dinosaur Barney football. Fossati, and every Peruvian, just start sending letters to Fossati and saying, start Quispe every single game. The guy is quality. Only 23 years old, plays for, I think, for Pumas in Mexico. The guy is a good player. But, Peru, what do you expect going away to Brazil? You're going to lose, okay? It might not be the greatest Brazil side, but this Peru team are not the greatest either. But beating Uruguay at home, at least they got a victory, and now they're ahead of Chile. That's the only positive they can take from these entire qualifiers. Gallese, of course, is one of the best goalkeepers still in South America. We already knew that, but I just want to see Quispe get more minutes. Stop with this negative football every time, Fossati. I get it. You don't have the quality going forward, but at least trust the youngsters. That's what you have to do. In a rebuild, you trust the youngsters, because we have seen the past year, most of these players are not good enough. Quispe is the future, so start him, but it was okay window from Peru. I don't expect, glorious things anymore. It's just going to take a while until you get back, and we're going to see how the youngsters do. But for now, getting one win, they're still in the hunt for a playoff push, but it's going to be very, very difficult. This is bad. Uruguay have now gone 4 straight games without scoring a goal. They have gone 4 straight games without winning a game in World Cup qualifiers. And they don't even look close to scoring in any of these games. The game away to Peru was god-awful. The home game against Ecuador was even worse. Yeah, there was the first half chance for Darwin to score. He hit the post, of course. Bielsa then tried to change the formation. He was playing a back 5 against Peru, where Ugarte was one of the center backs. I thought to myself, wait, that cannot be Ugarte in the center back role. And he even talked about, after the game, he was like, okay, yeah, I don't have some of the qualities to be a center back. No shit you don't, because you are a DM. Bielsa, love him or hate him, he has gone El Loco. And fitting that his name is El Loco, because his tactics and his substitutions are making no sense right now. Tactically, they just don't look like they're going to create anything. We obviously know with Bielsa, it's very high-octane football, create, a chaos, and that's how the goal will come about. But now, even that's not working. Okay, so what's plan B? Oh yeah, that's right, Bielsa doesn't have a plan B. So, Uruguay's attack is not good. Their defense is still solid. Rochette is a very good goalkeeper. You obviously have Jimenez, Nandes, Oliveira, and Bueno. Obviously with Araujo out injured still. And you got the 2 DMs, Ugarte, Valverde. No problems there. This is a similar situation to Ecuador. The defense is very good. Now the attack, oh boy. With all the quality they have, from Araujo out on the wing to Pelistri, Darwin Núñez, and then De Arreciate or De La Cruz. De La Cruz getting no minutes. I don't know why. The guy is a baller. Bielsa is losing the fans. Did you hear the whistles at the end of the game in Montevideo? That screams of major alarm bells to Bielsa and these players. It's not just all on Bielsa. These players, I don't know if they're trying to have like a civil war and try and get Bielsa sacked, but they're not helping themselves out either. The defense for that goal against Peru, they just saw the man and said, cool, can't do anything about it. No, we're not even going to try and defend. And anybody blaming Rochette is crazy, because the header was point blank. He is never going to save that. But it's getting now rough for Uruguay. Uruguay better be careful, because they're still 4 points ahead of Bolivia for the playoff spot. But now Brazil are on the same points as them. Ecuador, Paraguay, only 3 points behind them. And if you actually look at Uruguay's upcoming fixtures, they got Colombia at home, Brazil away, Argentina at home, Bolivia away, Paraguay away. Uruguay better be very careful, because if they don't pick up some wins in those games, they're going to be dragged into that dogfight for the 5th to 8th spot. Uruguay better be careful. Same thing with Brazil, same thing with Ecuador. Now that Bolivia have gone into the fight and Paraguay are rejuvenated, and Venezuela, we're going to talk about that right now, Uruguay better be careful. That attack needs to be sorted out. Bielsa could be on the firing block very, very soon if he doesn't sort it out. As much as we love Vinotinto and Batista as the manager, recently it's not been going well. After they had a great Copa America where they made it to the quarterfinal, and yes, they lost to Canada. Since that Copa America, they have lost to Paraguay, they got destroyed by Bolivia, and drew 2 home games against Uruguay and Argentina. I thought the game against Argentina at home in Maturin, I thought Venezuela played pretty well, and they were pretty unfortunate with just some lackluster finishing on their part. The game away to Paraguay, not good. They just don't have the balance. Defensively, they look shambles right now. I think before the Copa America was, wow, Vinotinto, defensively, they look solid. Since the Copa America, they have conceded now, 7 goals in 4 games. Batista and these players need to fix up. And yeah, okay, they've faced some tough opponents and they've went to some tough grounds, but they don't look as solid defensively as they once were. Aramburu, great goal against Paraguay. The guy is a baller. Herrera, a baller. Sotendino, hot and cold. Savarino, I expect more. The guy is balling out for Botafogo. I don't see it for Vinatinto. And Rondon is basically carrying the attack. Without Rondon, Vinatinto will not even sniff the World Cup. So things need to change. They need to first go back to being a defensively solid team. They've already conceded 10 goals in 10 games, which is the 4th worst defensive record in Conmebol World Cup qualifiers. So if you want to qualify for the World Cup, if you're Vinatinto, that needs to fix up. You have a very good goalkeeper in Romo, but it just seems like they switch off in the worst moments possible. And their upcoming fixtures, these have to be wins. Brazil at home, Chile away. Then you got Ecuador away and Peru at home. You need to pick up 2 wins there. If you don't pick up 2 wins in the next couple of games, the dream of qualifying to the World Cup could fade away. They need to find some form because right now you have 8 games to go. These are the most crucial 8 games in Venezuelan football history. How will they respond? Who knows? But Batista and these players defensively need to fix up. And this is why I love World Cup qualifiers in general. One window can change the narrative so much. Paraguay are now in a direct spot. Bolivia are still in a playoff spot. Venezuela are completely out of it. Brazil jumped up to 4th place. Uruguay are getting dragged down into the mud with everybody else. And Ecuador are just going to be Ecuador and not concede any goals. And Peru and Chile, they're done. I don't give them any chance of qualifying to the World Cup. And Colombia and Argentina are clear of the pack. So from 3rd to 8th, we're going to get some good games. I think that battle right there is going to be legendary for the next 8 games to go. Because now we got 8 match days to go, people. This is now, we're going to see who are the men and who are the boys in Conmebol World Cup qualifiers. But let me know your thoughts, people. Who is the biggest winner from this window? Is it Paraguay? Is it Brazil? And who is the biggest loser? Is it Uruguay again? Is it Ecuador's attack? Is it Chile as an entire nation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. If you want more Conmebol World Cup qualifiers content, this is the place to be. Shout out to you all. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time. Adios.